Hi friends, let's start learning Python. So for this tutorial I will be using an online Python interpreter. The reason I'm doing it is so that we don't need to install anything. We can just start learning Python right away. So I'll go to my browser and say online Python interpreter, and I'll click the first link there, and here it is, and we can start doing Python right away. So there are two windows you see here. One is a main.py window where you will be writing the Python program, and there's a shell where you which will display the results when you press the run button. So the first two lines that appear here, these are comment lines. These have nothing to do with the program. The interpreter is just gonna ignore them. So these are more like your own notes which are not gonna get into the program. But this is the first uh, line that's gonna be read by the Python interpreter, and this is where generally we start learning a new programming language. We try to print hello world, and the syntax of print statement is slightly different in different computer languages. In Python, the syntax of print statement is print, and then you have parentheses and no semicolon, nothing after that, just say print. So whatever text you want to write, if you want to write a text, the text has to be enclosed in either single quotes or double quotes. So this will work, and this will also work, just having single quotes. And you can type, suppose if I type T over here and T over here, and then now let's say run, and it's gonna say T. It doesn't matter whether it is single quotes or double quotes. You can just get rid of double quotes from hello world and just have the single quotes. Doesn't matter. But you need to have quotes for string or text or whatever you see over here. Now let's go a little bit further. Let's take a variable here. Suppose I have a variable and assign it a value of 5, and then if I want to print this variable, if I want to display this variable in the output, now I'll call the variable, but here you don't need to have single quotes. Okay, so let's do two things. Say print a and print a. So it's going to print the value of a, and then if you enclose it in some kind of quotations, then it's going to just say it as it is. It's going to consider it as a text. Okay, so let's do some simple operations here. Suppose I assign a value of b to 10 again, and then I can calculate some c, which will be a plus b, simple arithmetic operation, and then I can say print c. That's pretty simple. 15. Now I can actually use a more sophisticated version of print statement where I will be combining the string with this variable to make it more readable. So I'll say the sum of a and b is and c. Now when I execute this statement, it's going to say sum of 5 and 10 is 20. Now mind the syntax here. So you have a string here, and you have another string here, and then you have a third string here. In between you have variables that you're calling a, b, and c. So whenever you have string and variables together, you are gonna have a comma before the variable and before the starting of the string. If the, for example, over here, so you have a as a variable and you have string in front of that, just separate the string and the variable with the comma, and in the same way separate the string and the variable a with the comma. And this is how it works over here. This is how you actually print the variables and the string together. Now suppose if you have two strings, suppose a has some kind of string, say the, and then b has some kind of string, the boy, and then you wanna say c is equal to a plus b. This is gonna add a and b together, but it's just gonna just do a string concatenation, and the string concatenation is going to return something like this. So the sum of, it's still you have a as a variable. The only difference is you have assigned a string to the variable this time, and then you have b, and then the c is just a simple concatenation of a and b. So when you have a plus sign, if you have numeric variables, integers, floats, or doubles, or whatever, then you are going to do an arithmetic operation. But if you have a string here, it's just going to concatenate the string. That's how the plus sign works in Python. And now because you have all the strings over here, now your a is a string, and b is a string, c is a string, and then you have strings enclosed in quotations. You don't need to have these. One way of just adding everything in the print statement is separate the variables with commas. This is really necessary if you have a and b as integers or some other data type other than string. But if a, b, and c, they are strings, just simply use the plus sign again. It's going to concatenate these strings. The only thing you need to take care of over here is the plus sign joins the things, as you see. So if I just print it like this, it's going to join the stuff, the sum of, and then it joined the a with this, and then all of this. In order to get rid of this, you need to automatically add spaces here when you have the string, so that everything becomes more readable. And oh, there, yeah, even before that and after that. So now this works better. The sum of the and boy is the boy. Okay, so this tells us a bit of the few capabilities of Python in terms of string concatenation. It can actually also let's try another thing. uh, let's just have a only, and then we can say c is equal to a star 10. So what do you think should be the output? So this is a product actually. It looks like a product. The product of a and a and 10 is a and 10 is, and then you will have C over here. These are strings already, so we don't need to have any signs other than plus. We can still have plus signs over here, and then it's going to say the product of the and 10 is. Now what did it do? It printed the 10 times, so which means Python has a capability of actually uh, you know kind of repeating the string by using a multiplication sign. And let's see if it works. Do you think this is gonna work? This is not gonna work for the simple reason that 10 is an integer. But if you want to make it work, you need to make 10 as a string. Now the product. Now it just did a simple concatenation. So these are some of the examples that demonstrate how Python works. Let's do a simple example. Suppose my first name is equal to David, for example, and the last name is equal to Hayden, and I can just say print my name is, and then say, so you need a space over here, plus first name, and then plus, and then you need a space, of course, because otherwise it's going to just simply join it, and say last name, and that's it. So it gives you last name. If you want, you can add a period here. Again, you need quotations and then period, and it's this. So having just a space before and after plus does not matter actually. You can have it like this. It just doesn't consider anything over here. You can just get rid of all the spaces, and yeah, that's how it works. Now suppose I just don't give these variable names over here. I'm gonna ask these for as an input. from the user. So there is a way to do that. You can use this input statement, then use input statement. This is the most rudimentary way of using the input statement. When you run this command, it's gonna just stay there and it's waiting for your input. Give me the first name, say David, and then the last name Humphrey. But this is so inconvenient, right? I'm not understanding what to do. When I do run, it just simply stays there. So in order to avoid that, let's add a little bit of text there. Say, please enter your first name, and then let's continue with that courtesy and use the please and say enter your last name. And this suddenly becomes a little bit better. It's just dying down. Let me copy this stuff and then reload it, and let's paste the stuff again. So now please enter your first name. The first name is David, and please enter your last name, Humphrey. And so it prints it like this. The only thing is it still doesn't look nice. One way is just put a colon there and add a space, and then again David, Humphrey. That looks good. There is another way. You can use, rather than a space, you can use a tab. This is called escape character. One of the escape characters is tab, so it automatically puts a tab there. And see, it does not recognize slash t as a string. It recognizes it as a command. David, Humphrey, and that's it. Now you can also use a new line character instead of this. Say /n, and then now what's gonna happen is it's gonna ask for an input in the next line, right? So that's how it works. Now can we ask for string? This is string as an input, right? Can we ask for integers as an input? Now this input statement works only for strings. So if I want to ask for integers and input, it will literally treat it as a string, but I can do something with typecasting. I can change the string, whatever is entered by the user, to an integer or float if I like if I want to have a floating point operation, I can say that. So now what is entered over here is a string, an integer, and which means this print statement is not going to work like this, because this plus signs are used only to concatenate the strings. So because my first name and last name are integers and it's expecting as an integer, now if you go there and you say Humphrey, this is going to give an error because it's expecting an integer. So let's give an integer over here and say 5 and 6, and then the problem is it's giving an error in line 5 because you can't concatenate 5 and 6 like this. So if you want to do that, you need to change back to your previous methodology and put commas down there, and let's see what it prints. This is going to be funny. 5 6, my name is 5 6, and that's it. But this is what not what the integers are used for. Integers are used for calculations and arithmetic operations. So let's change into number 1 and number 2, and let's call please enter the first number, and then please enter the second number. Now you can do a calculation. For example, add is equal to num1 plus num2, and then what you're gonna do is say the sum of, and say num1 and num2 is, and then say add. Let's see how it works. first number 5, oh, 5 and 10. The sum of 5 and 10 is 50, right? Now let's try this. Let's get rid of int and then just make them as simple. And then if I enter first number and enclose it in quotations, because it's a string, I have to enclose it in quotations, and then call it as 6 over here. It's gonna say 5 6 this way. Let's try again with just 5 and then 6. Now it's treating it as a string. Actually, you can just say string and then it's just going to join the strings. So I hope you understood what's going on over here. So I can do another thing. I can just say, because it's a string can be anything. You can have a star and then you can say 10. Now it's adding a star with 10. It's going to do star 10. Let's do another thing. Let's just change it to star and do a product there, and then we say the product of this and this is product. Now this works beautifully with your integers. Let's ask it for integers as inputs. First integer is 10, the second integer is 20, and the product is 200. This is fine. Let's change them into strings and see what's going to happen. Okay, so now these are strings, and say maybe first character or first string, I'd say, and to just okay, so let's say my first string is star. I just give it as a star. Okay, and my second string is 10. String can be anything, like it assumes that it's gonna be in quotations. Oh, what's error there? Okay. Oh, what's going on? So, oh, I think I just did a mistake there. Let's see, star 10. Oh, there is a real problem there. It's in line 5. Okay, let's try to debug what's going on. Mm. Oh, no, it's not going to work like this. It's not going to work like this. The reason it's not going to work like this is because there are two strings. I need an integer here. Let's get the second integer to show you what I wanted to demonstrate. So my first string is star. The second string is no, the second one is an integer here. It just says string. We are going to change it. What did it do is it just multiplied the star 5 times. So essentially, let's make it better so that you understand the things well. Integer. Now let's not confuse that star with this product asterisk. Let's use some other symbol. Let's use a plus symbol. Now the first string is plus, and my second, the integer is 10. Now it's gonna do the plus 10 times. What it is doing is it's taking the first string and multiplying it with an integer. The way we are multiplying, we multiply integer with an integer. Suppose the first string this time is AB, and the second integer, it's actually the first integer, is 5. It's going to do AB 5 times, and say it's not the first or second, there is only one string and one integer, and the product of this and this is 5. So this is something wonderful there. Again, star star, and I want to print the star 100 times. Now it's going to print star 100 times, and you can actually make beautiful patterns from this if you know something called a loop. Actually, uh, I will show you how to make patterns from here. It's very easy. Get rid of all this and say 5, and say 1 times star. Let's see, uh, say print. Let's see how it works. I tried this actually. print one time star. Does it gonna? Yeah, it's not gonna. Oh yeah, because it's a string, I need to enclose it in quotations. So it printed a star, and I just keep doing this and say print one time star, print, 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 and just change this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's gonna say. Now let's see what it does. Oh, it just died down. Let's load it again. That's one problem with these online compilers. And look at this. You just made a great pattern there. If you wanna, you could have actually done this. Now let's see if it works fine. Oh no, this is not gonna work. Yeah, this is fine. This is a simple demonstration of how you make a pattern. Actually, you can do something, use something called a loop, which can run over this and make these patterns like this. We are gonna learn loops and everything just later. Uh, I think that's it for this video, and in the next video we will learn more about data types and what kind of inputs Python can accept, and we'll do some examples there.